Good morning, folks. Here on a very rainy, cloudy Cape Cod day. It's April 4th, and I just wanted to inform folks that are having problems with their Samsung high-definition TVs, specifically the power-on, power-off cycling that is occurring with a lot of sets. If that initially happens to your television and you contact Samsung, they will send out their contracted maintenance personnel to repair two undersized capacitors that were installed when your television was new. The capacitors were a known defect when they produced the televisions, and they will replace those. My television was 2 years old, just out of warranty, and they do not call this a warranty repair. It was just a courtesy visit by their maintenance company. After their company came and replaced the two capacitors, the television, approximately 45 minutes after they left, immediately began to recycle itself off and on. The chime would play, and the screen would not come up. So effectively, the television was rendered useless to me. When I called Samsung back, their customer service rep proceeded to tell me that it was obviously the fault of their maintenance company, and that they must have reinstalled bad capacitors or previously used capacitors into our television, and that's why it's failing. They told me that I had to go after that maintenance company to come back and replace their bad capacitors they put in. You can see the dog chasing its tail already with Samsung. They also told me that they would do nothing further to help me repair this television, as the capacitors were the only item that they currently would deal with a power-on, power-off cycling. The next step I took was to go to Geek Squad. I understand that the Geek Squad has been repairing Samsung televisions in the Cape Cod area with some success. On the first visit, $150 service charge, because again, the TV, which I purchased at Best Buy, was out of warranty. Gentleman came in, and he told me he was going to unplug the touch screen, which is located in the lower right corner of the front side of the television. A lot of us don't even know it's there. It's the on-off controls, volume control, things of that nature that are hidden in the bezel of your television. He said that that problem of powering on and off and the cycling was sometimes related to that device. He simply unplugged it, left, and told me to give him a call back if I should have another problem. Approximately 45 minutes after he left, the TV again began to power on and off with the sound of the chimes, and again, the television was useless to us. We couldn't get to the main screen. When I called the Geek Squad back, the technician had informed me that if that pulling of the wire out of that touch panel was not the problem, then it had to be the motherboard. He had been replacing motherboards in other Samsung TVs with the same problem. It came back. When the new board came in, he replaced it. The cost of the new motherboard is $220, plus another $30 service charge for labor from the Geek Squad. So now I'm into this television for approximately $480, and since he replaced the motherboard, the television is operated perfectly. No more off and on, no more chimes. It's like the day we bought it. So if you're following these videos on YouTube, which inform you that, hey, just replace two capacitors and your TV will work fine, that was only the first defect that Samsung knows is out there with their televisions. What angers me right now is that Samsung absolutely refuses to admit any other defects exist in their TVs. The motherboard is an obvious failure. The Geek Squad is replacing a number of these motherboards in Samsung high-definition TVs. My model is an LCD 40, I believe it's a 40-inch LCD TV. And since he replaced it 2 days ago, we've had no problems with the machine. The other thing I wanted to warn you about, that there is a class action lawsuit that is beginning. It's being run by a law firm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I strongly recommend that you Google that aspect on for the class action lawsuit for Samsung high definition TVs. I would strongly recommend that you sign up for that class action lawsuit for any costs that you've incurred beyond what Samsung has been agreeable to repair. Right now, they admit no problems with the motherboard, and they're not going to. As I understand it, that their bean counters are looking at this to see just how many people are going to either go after them, sue them, and then they'll wait to see what the final cost is going to be for them. Much like Toyota with the problem with their gas pedal sticking, Samsung is they're not stepping up to the plate. They're not accepting responsibility for the defective product that they have sold. And I will tell you that Consumers Digest found these TVs to be the best in the number one 2 years ago. A lot of people have purchased these TVs. And if you weren't fortunate enough to buy that extended warranty from Best Buy, you will be stuck just like I was. I would recommend that you do not try to replace the capacitors yourself. I would stick with a technician who's qualified. I would keep every receipt for a calendar of events for the attorneys out in Oklahoma who are trying to process this lawsuit. Once again, we have a product on the ground that doesn't live up to its promise. We have a company, Samsung, who absolutely refuses. Outside of blaming their own maintenance company for an improper installation, they admit to nothing. So step up to the plate, folks. Join the class action lawsuit. And if you know people who have a Samsung TV, pass the word around. They're not what you think they are, in spite of what Consumers Digest said about them 2 years ago. If yours hasn't started to power on and power off yet, then I will warn you, you need to be aware of it. Once that problem starts, the capacitor replacement may not be the solution for you. It could be the touch panel, or it could be your motherboard. Either way, I'm into it for $480, and I think you will be too. Samsung, when their repair person comes out, they're very specific in telling you that only the replacement of the capacitors is covered by their courtesy visit. Anything beyond those two capacitors, there's a $300 service charge. Didn't sound right to me. That's why I went to the Geek Squad. And once again, Samsung here is the problem, folks. Join the class action lawsuit. Protect yourself. Thank you very much.